Everyone, welcome back to a part 23 of our tutorial series on how to integrate the time series database to our RAG-powered AI application to have our system operation monitoring more intelligent. And time series database, as I explained in my previous video, if you haven't watched, I would highly recommend you to watch that. You can find the link in the description as well as on my right top of the screen, because that would give you the sense why we have taken a different approach when we are trying to integrate the time series database as compared to the other databases. Right. So in the same pursuit, what we have done, we have written a few different Python scripts. One of them is through which we are sending a continuous data, which you can see on my screen. So it is continuously keep feeding a data, which you can observe in the InfluxDB. Here we can see that I'm continuously feeding this data with having a spike at the regular interval for the API latency. Right? So data feeding process is working fine. Now the next thing which we have to do to integrate the time series database is, since our large language model cannot directly understand the time series data points the way it actually gets stored, and the characteristic of is a bit different as compared to the other data sources which we have integrated. Right? So here what we're going to do, first we have to extract the data points from the InfluxDB, and then we have to format in a way which can be understood by the LLM large language model. And with the help of this formatted data, we can build the context for our prompt, which we can fed to the large language models to give us a more intelligent observation, proactive monitoring, and we can just have a more insight on the time series data. To achieve that flow, we have to make the connection to the InfluxDB server. Then we have to extract the data from the InfluxDB, and then we have to apply the formatting rules. So let's get into the demo part and see how we can achieve that. Okay. So what I have done here is I have already written a code which I am calling as the InfluxDB Executor P1. Right here, if you have been following this video, we know that we have an influxdb-client, which is a Python dependency which we need. So you have to install by pip install influxdb-client, and you will be having one. Right? And then we are loading a config file. You can use a .environment file as well, where you have an influxdb URL, token, organization, and bucket that I have already explained in my previous video. And you can just watch that and get the sense what are these fields. Now we need to get a client connection. And for that, I have already explained that what we're going to do, we are going to just use this InfluxDB client class where we are feeding a URL, token, and the org and the timeout seconds. In timeout second, you have to make sure it's a 60,000 because it understands in milliseconds, not in seconds. That is where I spend a lot of time to understand. Right? And then rest of the stuff is pretty straightforward. You should not be worried about, even if I just remove that, because here I'm just ensuring that, if there is a reason, there is a situation where, the connection is not being made, then it is just retrying in a loop and then handling the error properly so that we get to know why the connection is not being made. So you don't have to worry about that part. You have to just understand the one line where we are making a client. Once we have that client, then we have another function where we are going to execute the Flux query. And this function, you have to keep this line in a mind that whatever the client we have, through that, what we're going to do, we are going to call this method, which is a query underscore API. And then we are going to get this query API object. So it's an object API, which we're going to get. And then we have to feed our query through which we can extract the data in the InfluxDB. In InfluxDB, we have a Flux query, which I'm going to explain how it looks like. And then you can extract the data. The way data, so rest of the code you can ignore because this is just a exception handling. You should not be worried about that. Now, this is the actual logic of the function where actual magic is happening apart from extracting the data from the InfluxDB. So here you can see what I'm feeding in, whatever the result we are going to get, which we are returning here. And if you just see, we are executing a query, and whatever the response we are getting in tables form, this is a variable. And then we are just feeding into this function, which is going to do the actual formatting for us. Right? So before I do that, let me just quickly run this code. because it is going to take some time so that I can just show you in a real time how it would look like. So let me just explain that. Whatever output we got from the previous function where we are extracting a data, then we are iterating through the table. So whatever number of measurement we have, it is going to extract the data for all the measurements. So first we are going to take the very first table, and then we are going to just iterate through the records. So this is just a mechanism through which we are ensuring whether it's a first record or not, and then we are building the header part of it, right? So that you're gonna understand in a couple of minutes, right? Because it is going to take a little bit of, oh, it's already done. So once we run the query, this is the format which we're gonna get. And this is a simple markdown where we have a measurement, which is saying a measurement name. Then we have a field, which is exactly the value. And the result where we are saying what is the recent payment latency. And if you just see, this is how we are just formatting here. So we have three fields: measurement, value, and the result. And then we are just giving the name of all this. So this is my header. This is how I am just extracting the head. And then once you just get the records, we are just precisely getting a records from the table which we are iterating here. And then we have this records 0 because it's a list. And then we have to call this values and keys, right? So I will just share this entire code I will push to the GitHub repo, and I will just share the link in the description. You can just go there and you can just extract. Right? So now the interesting part, how the query looks like. I think I have already explained in a previous video. Whenever you are going to UI and just select from, from which bucket you want to extract the data, then you get the measurement, and then you get the field like value. You can click on that. Then the tags like endpoint and the services, which is payment in our case, and you can just submit. And then if you just click on this script editor, you will get this query format, which is a Flux query for us. And you can just understand how this filter and the range and all this stuff is being built. So first we have a measurement name, then we have a range, like up to what duration we want to extract the time. So here is a start and end point so that we can just extract whatever the previous data or the current data we can extract. So this is where you just define a range. And then we have a filter depending upon the tags value and the fields value. And then we have an aggregate window, what we want to say, because it is going to give us the time, the data points for every movement. So if we want to aggregate for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and we can do that, and we can see whether we need a mean. And there are a lot of, inbuilt function which you can utilize. And then eventually we have a yield, which is saying, okay, this is how I want my response is. So once you submit this and come back here, and same thing we are doing here. So we are just building a query. We are saying, okay, from bucket, then the bucket name, then range. Okay, I'm just extracting from last 1 minute because I don't want to pollute that. And then filter. This is the structure you have to keep remember, and you can just refer the documentation as well. So what I'm saying in function, I'm feeding a rar, and then we are saying dot underscore measurement, which is going to tell us, okay, you want to just filter the data, whatever the data you are getting from the bucket. For the last 1 minute, you want to filter it out based on the measurement name. And along with that, if you want to add some more, which field, okay, which tag field, like service we have endpoint. So I'm just giving this name, and you can have a multiple service and an endpoint into measurement, which is API latency. And then you are extracting the values, right? So once this is done, so what we are saying, we are just building a query first. And then we are calling this execute flux query. So once we call this execute flux query, it creates the client, and then we call this query API method. If you remember, right, we have this query API through which we are just making an API based connection to with the client, and then we are feeding a query, and then we get the result, and that result, whatever we are getting is this, we are just putting to the another function, which is formatting the output, whatever the result we are going to get to this function, and we can see here. Right, this is what our formatted value. But what we can do, just one more thing, we can quickly print this query result as well, so that you can understand why we are applying this formatting, so that the large language model can understand. Let me just rerun this one more time. It is making a connection to the InfluxDB, checking a health, whether the connection is healthy or not to the InfluxDB server. Let's see if we are continuously getting data here or not. So it seems good. It looks good. Okay. Awesome. Right. So now we can see. Okay, so we can see we are having this 10 columns and 12 records. So basically what we have to do, we have to simply say, we see the first pickup, and we can rerun that one more time, and we can just get the precise information what we have in our respective tables. Right, so here you can see we are getting this objects, so we are going to get the first object, and then we can just get, the measurement and all this stuff. And if I just come here, you can just understand how this looks like. Once we have these tables, we are iterating through the tables, and then inside that table, we have a records, right? And inside the record, we have a precise data. So what we can do, we can this table 0, then we can have a record 0, and then we can apply this, right? So I can quickly make the changes one more time, where we have this dot, and then we can say records, and then we can say we want to just get the very first thing. Okay, so now we can see it just give me, this should be here, FluxDB column. So we get this, okay, for the one single record, and we are going to run this one more time, and then we will get the precise data points. Let me just pause that until it just gets run. Okay, so now we can see this is how this looks like. We inside the tables, we have a records, and the records is table 0. Then we have this result, right? We can say result, this recent payment latency is same at what we have defined now. Now formatting, then we have this table 0, we have this start time. This is how it looks like. Then we have a stop time based on the range which we have requested to our query. This is time. This is the precise time at which that particular data points is stored in a DB. Then we have a values, the corresponding value, and the field is value, measurement, endpoint, and the service, right? This is how the data looks like, and that's the problem we have. That is why we have to reformat it in a way which can be fed to the LLM. Right? So this is a building block, one of the basic building block after loading the data and having enough data. So now in the next video, what we're going to see, we are going to write another program which is going to understand the natural language query. And then it will convert into the Flux query and extract the data and convert it into the format which can be understood by the large language model. And that is going to be very interesting. So I would say wait for the next video where you will be seeing how interesting and challenging the next logic gonna be, because we have to convert the natural language query based on which we have to decide what kind of query we have to build. Right? So that's it from my side for this particular video. If you have any feedback or suggestion, please feel free to put that into the comment section so that I can just try to incorporate that in my future video. If you really like this video, please give a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that the next whenever the next video will be published, you will be notified for the same. And if you feel this video can help your friends, colleagues, and groups, please feel free to share with them. And if you haven't subscribed for my channel, please subscribe for my channel as well. As always, stay healthy and keep learning new things.